So I've been receiving a lot of comments from people asking me why I'm only covering Nokia phones, and I wanted to show you why. It's really no secret that I've been a fan of Nokia for a very long time. I would say somewhere around the early 2000s. So it was really cool seeing all these different phones with super different form factors and different colors and designs, and basically every phone was kind of aimed at a very specific user. So that made me quite excited about all these new different phones. Of course, back then I was still a high school student, so I didn't really have a lot of money to sort of save up and build a collection, but I still owned some pretty cool devices, like the Nokia E66, my personal favorite, the Nokia E70, and the Nokia N81. After that era, what kept me attached to the brand is their focus on hardware design as well as camera innovation and technology. So this was when I was in college and I had my first job while I was studying. So I managed to save up and buy phones, and I did my best to make sure I keep every single one of them. And this is why the majority of my collection are some of these most colorful devices from the Lumia era, and exactly before that era and after. So today I wanted to show you my phone collection and explain the reasoning why I picked every single one of these devices. So let's go through this journey together and relive some of my early college days. Hey guys, I'm back. For today I'm going to be reviewing the Nokia N8, which is the phone I've been using for the past 6 months. Good God, this YouTuber is horrible. Who is he? Abdulla Zaki? I don't think I'm ever gonna watch his videos ever again. So the first phone in the collection is the Nokia N8, back from 2010. This phone had a massive 12 megapixel camera with xenon flash on its back. And what I really loved about it as well is the color and the build quality. So it was made out of aluminum and it felt super solid. And it's one of those few touchscreen devices that you think if you drop, you'll just never have to worry about it breaking the screen. In fact, the ionized aluminum actually still feels great even today. This phone is just super solid. And obviously, since the phone came in green, which is my favorite color, it was a no-brainer picking this up. I remember selling the Galaxy S in order to get this phone, and I don't regret it at all. Hey guys. It's Abdullah and it's time for my Nokia N9 review. Let me start with the hardware device. First thing you notice when you hold the device, that it feels very solid in the Seriously, this YouTuber is killing it. So the year is 2011 and Nokia just announced the Nokia N9, and I was completely blown away by this. I've made a very detailed video about why I think the N9 is the best Nokia ever made, so you can check that out as well. But to sum it up, the beautiful software and hardware made it a very easy choice for me to pick it up. To be honest, I still adore both of these things even today. I still think this device looks amazing, like it has never aged a single day. Then in 2012, Nokia went absolutely crazy with the introduction of the 808 PureView. Even though Symbian OS was on its last legs, the camera innovation on this phone was so revolutionary. It still has one of the largest camera sensors to be ever put on a phone. And it was the first phone to introduce PureView branding and PureView technology. So it had a 41 megapixel camera sensor, which captured 5 or 8 megapixel images, basically combining up to 8 pixels into one super ultra detailed noise-free pixel. The result? Super clear images with almost no notable noise. In daylight, its pictures still hold up even today. And you know about the high quality microphones that you enjoy on your latest Android and iPhones? Well, this phone had them back in 2012. I was so excited to experience this groundbreaking camera tech, which is exactly why this phone is in my collection. So near the end of 2012, Nokia finally announced the first device running on Windows Phone 8, the Lumia 920. Before that, the Lumia 800 and the Lumia 900 had to adhere to very strict guidelines enforced by Windows Phone 7. With the Lumia 920, Nokia was finally able to showcase some of the innovations they've been working on in the camera tech, and they were helped by Microsoft in developing Windows Phone 8. And boy, was this phone stuffed with innovation. Optical image stabilization, incredible low light images, the ability to use the phone with gloves, 60 Hz refresh rate display, and wireless charging. I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. and the yellow color didn't hurt its cause. I absolutely love the color and the design. Some people complained that the Lumia 920 was too fat and too heavy. I wasn't one of those people. But you know what? Who cares? Because the result was one of the best designed phones Nokia ever made, the Lumia 925. It had an almost identical specifications list as the Lumia 920, but introduced the world's first 6-lens element camera. The purpose of this was to capture sharper images, and the 925 came in a sleek, super sleek design that still looks good even today. People were asking for aluminum, so Nokia added it to the edges and the frame of this phone, but kept the polycarbonate plastic on the back. This phone design was later mimicked by the iPhone 6, but not as elegantly. Did I mention that I'm a sucker for beautiful hardware design? So in 2013, Nokia finally managed to port over the technology found on the 808 PureView and bring it onto Windows Phone. Enter the Lumia N10. It had a 41 megapixel sensor, which was fitted onto this Oreo style, and a very unique and sleek design compared to the 808. The thin edges on the top and the bottom made it very easy to fit into your pocket. It also added optical image stabilization to the massive 41 megapixel sensor and gave you the ability to capture images in RAW format. And its camera interface was so incredible for its time, allowing you to adjust manual settings and then see the results immediately. You could adjust the sensitivity, the white balance, the exposure, as well as the focus, and see the effects on that in real time. The camera tech on this thing was so far ahead of its competition, which makes it easy to see why I picked it up. I recently did a review of the Lumia N10, so you can check that out to see how it holds up even today. My cameraman thinks this is the worst angle possible, which is why I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Anyways, so Samsung had the Galaxy Note series, and Nokia wanted to compete in the phablet space. So how do you differentiate yourself while making a super large device like this one? You pack absolutely everything you can think of into it, and then some. Enter the Lumia 1520. So this phone was one of the first devices to come with the Snapdragon 800 processor. It had a huge 6-inch display with a resolution of 1080p. It also had a very large battery capacity for the time, 3400, which was larger than anything else we've seen on a phone at that time. The battery endurance is actually still amazing even for today. You could easily live with about 2 days of usage on this device. It also packed a brand new 20 megapixel PureView camera sensor, which had a very minimal camera bump and made use of the PureView technology developed on the Lumia N20. It also had 4 high-quality microphones for audio recording, which was also a smartphone first. Its display would change contrast and brightness of individual pixels based on where the light was pointing on the display. Incredible stuff. Oh, and it also came in yellow, so I was immediately sold. I was actually in attendance when this phone was announced for the first time in Abu Dhabi, back in 2014. Good times. I really wasn't gonna buy the Lumia 930. When I first saw its pictures and specs, I was a bit underwhelmed, as it didn't seem to bring any new and exciting features for a flagship device. It was basically a 1520 mini. This was until I saw it live in a press briefing held by Nokia here in Dubai, where the green color kind of slapped me in the face. The build quality and the design were absolutely superb, and the color were just the icing on the cake. I was also kind of fatigued from using the Lumia 1520, so I was looking forward to using a normal sized phone again. It's funny how my impressions completely changed after I saw it in real life and held it up for the first time. Now, I really admire its very simple and modern design, and for me it's one of the favorite Lumia designs. It also feels super durable, thanks to thick aluminum frame on the edges, so I used it without a case and was never worried about breaking the screen. So yeah, that's the Lumia 930 for you. So I was obviously devastated when Microsoft bought the Nokia phones division in 2015. But I was still hopeful that some of the innovation that Nokia brought to the smartphone game in camera technology as well as hardware would carry over on the first flagship device released by Microsoft. And then we saw the Lumia 950 and the 950 XL. And that was disappointed really. It just looked like a half-assed job, to be honest, especially when it comes to hardware and design, and the specifications were like just okay. This was supposed to be the first big flagship from Microsoft and the phone to showcase Windows Phone 10, and it just seemed like it was devoid of any passion really. Anyways, after looking more into the camera tech, I was kind of convinced to give it a go just to test out the new PureView camera on it. What didn't hurt as well is that I was a part of the Windows Phone ecosystem, so that made the transition from my Lumia 930 to the 950 XL quite smooth. Luckily, the camera was indeed the saving grace of this device. No, seriously, the camera on this phone is incredible. It was way ahead of its Samsung and Apple competitors for its time, which softened the blow of the really mediocre hardware. But overall, I couldn't help but feel disappointed, just because it just was so incredibly dull to look at and handle. So these are all the phones that I wanted to showcase. Obviously there were a lot more phones since then, like I ended up buying the HTC 10 right after the Lumia 950. I also bought the LG G6 for its ultra-wide angle camera, which was useful for my job at the time. So my return to modern Nokia was actually through the Nokia 5, where I broke the LG G6's screen, and it was costing me more to fix that screen than to buy a Nokia 5. So I said, you know what? Let me try the Nokia 5 to see if it's any good. And then since that time, I ended up buying the Nokia 8 after that, then the Nokia 8 Sirocco, and finally the Nokia N9 PureView. I was also quite lucky to work in a local publication here that gave me access to testing the best phones from almost every manufacturer. So I had access to the latest Samsung Galaxies, latest Huawei's, the latest iPhones, and so on and so forth. So that's the reason I have quite a lot of knowledge regarding phones. And it's what gave me the ability to be able to assess each phone individually and understand which phone is good and which phone isn't. I'm also trying to read up always on the latest phone innovations and latest phone technologies from all these brands. So I'm always up to date on what's going on in this field. So that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this content, as it will help me grow and help me produce more of these videos. I'm watching you. Thank you very much for watching. This was Abdullah signing out.